Hey guys, another screencast based on Excel spreadsheets. What we'd like to do now that we have some data imported into a spreadsheet and formatted properly is start thinking about why we actually have our data in a spreadsheet. In this case, we have grade data that we've brought in from, say, Folio, so that we can analyze that data to see how our students are doing in class. What we're doing essentially is defining a business question or a business problem. The business question is, how are students performing? In order to do that, we need to look at the contents of the spreadsheet and look at the data we have and figure out a way that we can either through data or through visualization answer that question. In this case, we'd like to know how well our students are doing, so we'd like to look at their grade in the class as maybe a percentage instead of just points. To do that, we probably need to know a couple of things. First off, how many points have they earned? Second, how many points could they have earned? So let's start with that first question. How many points have they earned? In this example, you can see that student 1 has earned 90 points on the first grade, 97 on the second, 100 on the third, and so on. What we'd like to do is find out what their total is. So using the techniques you learned in the textbook, we're going to add a total column for each student that represents the total number of points they've gotten so far in the class. We can do that any number of ways. We could use a formula, so we begin that with an equal sign, and we could add together each of the fields in that particular row. However, that would be kind of tedious. We'd prefer to do something a little more flexible. So we look and we find that we have actually a sum command. And the sum command allows you to specify a range that you want to add up. So in this case, I've typed equals sum, open my parentheses, highlighted all the cells I'd like to sum up together. I close the parentheses and press enter, and I get the total number of points that they have earned so far. So maybe I should change this from total to points earned. Now, I need to repeat that formula for each student. I'm going to first make the column wide enough, but second, rather than retype it, I can click on a cell that's already got the formula, grab this little bar in the corner, this little box in the corner, pull it down, and it will replicate that formula all the way down the spreadsheet. And you'll notice that this one sums up B2 to J2. And if we go down a row, it goes B3 to J3, and so on, adjusting the row numbers, which is very convenient for us. Now, the total number of possible points is something we don't have available to us right at the moment. And in fact, we wouldn't want to necessarily put the total number of possible points right here in the column next to their points earned, because that would be the same for every student. So I'm going to add another tab or another sheet to this spreadsheet. And I'm going to call it our Assignments tab. On here, we have the student grades. On here, we have each of the assignments. So now we have a new sheet. On this tab, we have each of the assignments and the maximum number of points that could be earned for that assignment. So we'd like to know the total number of points that they could have actually earned so far in this semester. So I type in a label. Again, I'm going to use a sum command. I'm going to add up everything here. And this tells me that so far, every student could have earned 1,000 points. So we go back to the Grades tab. We see that each student has the points they've earned. And if we divide it by that total number of points, then we'll know their percentage grade in the class. So I'll put in percentage grade and make that column wide. Now, if I type a formula in here that says equals this cell divided by this total number and press enter, it tells me their percentage grade as a fraction of 1. So we probably have to go back to the Home tab, use the percent option here to turn that into a percentage formatted value. So this is great. What we've got is the student's 981 points being divided by the total on the assignments tab to give us the 98% grade. Now, you might think you could just pull this down and fill in all the columns. If you do that, however, it will offset your cell reference to cell B11 on the assignments tab by 1 row each time, and we don't want it to do that. So I'll press undo. I'll come back up here and I'll use a function or a technique that locks in the row number. We do that simply by putting a $sign in front of the row number. If we wanted to lock in the column number, we could put a $sign in front of it, and those values would be locked in and would not adjust when we copy and paste and autofill cells. So now it didn't change the value for the student, but if we pull this down and autofill, you'll notice each row still references cell B11, no matter which row we've copied it onto. So now we have an idea of what the grades each person has in the class. However, it's kind of difficult to see what their grade is just looking at a long list of numbers. So next, in the next screencast, we're going to look at how you would actually visualize this data.